That's when it split. That's what caused people to go this way and that way.
Explain that, the split,
okay.
in detail.
Before the split, when Larry came down, Lil Durkee and all of them, they was like, y'all need to respect that man, that's the new king. And a lot of people didn't want to go along with it. So when the split came, when they went to the library, Killer Red, Swan, a lot of the leaders, they went with Killer Red for, the Black Disciple. They wanted peace, but when they met at the library, La Harlem had people to come over there like they was finna talk peace, but La Harlem came over there and caused the split. He got to saying, got in Larry's face, well, you bitches this, you bitches that, this and that. And then the joint was finna go up. You had all the G's and the BD's finna go at each other.
OG, two letters that define respect. I created the original OGs to document the forgotten parts of American history. I want to recognize and give a voice to the men and women that have climbed to the top of their game. The men and women this marquee have been authenticated as original OGs. Welcome to my world, a world of the originals, the unique. Welcome to the original OGs. Before we get started, I want to say to you, thank you for all the love that I'm getting. Continue to subscribe, follow, share. This is Don Blue Monday. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine.
Hey man, we're gonna walk back into your past and walk it on up. So tell me, where were you born?
Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama. How did you end up in Chicago?
My mother passed away when I was at the age of 10, and my father migrated from Chicago, came there to bring all of his kids to Chicago.
You came up here and you landed where?
In Cabrini Green.
In Cabrini Green. What year was that?
63.
63?
May the 12th.
You know it down to the day. I get it. What kind of culture shock was that?
Well, it was a change in my life. My father was a cab driver. He migrated to becoming a janitor for CHA. The 4th grade in Jenner, they transferred me to Sheila School in the 5th grade under Jesse White. He was our gym teacher.
Oh, wow.
And I went back to Jenner in the 6th grade. And after I left 6th grade, they sent me to Cooley High in the upper grade center.
At 6th grade?
When I left 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade, Cooley High had upper grade center, 7 and 8.
My first day of school was in Jenner, in Cooley High. How did that change your life?
Well, after I finished upper grade center in the 7th and 8th, I migrated to high school. I stayed in the same school, but in high school, I went to 9th grade, all the way to 11th.
Still in Cooley High?
Mm-hmm. The 9th, 10th, and 11th grade.
Right. You were there during the period of time they told the story about Cooley High?
No, I was a year late.
A year
Cooley
late?
High was in 64. I merged to Cooley about 66. I was in the 7, 8, 19, 11, yeah.
The movie Cooley High.
Yeah, I know most of the people in the movie.
Can you explain to me the reality of it and the movie of it?
Okay, the reality of Cooley was mainly about, they started from when it used to be Washburn. But see, Cooley was a technical school. They had auto shop. They had any kind of shop
Trade.
there was.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a technical shop.
Wow.
We fixed cars. We did wood shop. We did drafting. That school had everything, and it was a good school for a person getting a good education. And when they focused on Rick Stone and Cheese went to school with me. Cheese got killed. Rick Stone still living. He live up north right now. And they brought out the thing about it was surrounding Johnny V. 1167 because both of them were Stones. Yeah, Rick Stone, he started working with Jesse White too because Jesse raised him too. He went to Cooley with me. Cochise went to Cooley with me. They was all Cobra Stones. Yeah. Rick Stone, he took a fall, messed around, tried to stick something up, and he got killed. No, Cochise. But Rick Stone was the one that's still, he living, he's still here. Rick Stone, he played a part in the movie was to teach teenagers, this ain't no joke out here. This gangbanging and what we doing, they played the bad guys in the movie.
Right.
You know, so I grew up with them.
Would you say that the movie was close to the real life?
Yes, it was. Everything in the movie, the restaurant they was in, that was Mary's. All it, and certain people in the movie were civilians. There was 3 of the guys when they was drinking in the alley. They went to school with me. They was in my classroom. The big muscle bound guy and all them. Yeah.
They were real people.
Yeah, they went to Cooley. But now Lawrence Hilton Jacob was a regular actor though.
Okay.
Lawrence Hilton, but the rest of them, you had about a good 20 or 30 of them that was from Cabrini that was in that movie that I went to school with.
I didn't know Cooley High was a trade school.
Yeah, trade school, yeah.
There used to be trade schools in every community. You know, we have none now.
They didn't want to rebuild Cooley because they figured it was too close to downtown. That was the excuse they gave everyone. They rebuilt a school called Magnet, but they tore it back down. It was a 1-story building. They claimed water was getting in the building because it was too down in the valley. That was the new Cooley, but they changed the name to Neil Magnet.
They took those trade schools out of our community, and that pushed us out of the job market.
Correct.
That positioned the unions to have more power at feeding their communities.
Right, that's right. Same way with Teen Town, with the Vice Lord, when they come out with Teen Town out west, they had all that academic stuff like Cooley. Teen Town, the Vice Lord was the main organization out west. They would consider it an umbrella over all the organizations because they was business-wise.
Right.
The CBLs when they came out.
And
it was more business-wise.
Want to give a special shout out to Minister Rico.
Well, the original building was Washburn before they changed the name to Cooley. Edwin G. Cooley. When Johnny V was gangbanging, they was in there. Matter of fact, that building was across the street from Cooley High. They was Cobra Stones, and we was Black Family.
That's what it was called, Black Family?
Yep, then we merged into Black Family Deuces before we hooked up with David.
What was the atmosphere like in Cooley High?
It was rough.
It was rough, fight every day,
yeah,
the whole 9 yards.
We was fighting the Stones, and we had to come past that building going to Cooley. We was in the whites then. And Johnny V was in the reds right here by Cooley.
When did the organizations start formulating?
Well, in Cabrini, Big Gus, and a lot of the older guys, they formed a neighborhood organization. We was really like what would you say, something like the Black Panthers. We gave away free food, and we took care of the community. Big Gus was one of the leaders of the food program. We was like a militant organization before we became into that gangbanging.
These organizations are being formulated to serve the community.
Correct. In Cabrini, 68, 69, 70, from there, that's when most of the organization got to getting into that banging. We switched from being community organization, then we started doing the other thing.
You became a
Black Family.
Black Family.
We wore black tams, yeah, just like the Panthers.
Yeah. How did it become united with the Gangster Disciples?
Okay, Black Family started, and the Deuces hooked up with us, and Kilroy and King David used to come to Cabrini Green because, first of all, King Richard Strong, he started from Inglewood with David. He was in Inglewood. He grew up in Inglewood before he migrated to Cabrini. Okay. He was the founder of the Disciples in Cabrini. He was originally from Inglewood with David. He went to the north side and started forming the organization with the community. That was Richard Strong. And when he formed that as time migrated along, he come from Inglewood and moved to Cabrini. Okay, Richard Strong is originally from Inglewood. He was coming to Cabrini back and forth, and then he finally moved over there, and he the one that started the organization in Cabrini.
He's already in Inglewood doing his thing with King David.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes to
Cabrini.
At this time, the disciples are doing their thing in Inglewood.
Right, correct.
Okay, so he brings that idea to Cabrini.
Correct.
Let's talk about Richard Strong a little bit, because he's the one that migrated this idea to Cabrini.
Right.
What role did he play with King David?
Well, he merged back with David when he hooked up the black family. So he brought it into black family disciple. We became disciples.
That's when they became black disciples.
Right.
I guess we could say that was the first merge.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. So now we got black disciples.
Yeah, it was out on 68th area. They was in his next door neighbors, David, Larry, David here, David, 63rd, Larry, 68 and 69. They was like next door, but they was in the same area.
But these are all organizations at this point.
Right. I migrated west and started the High Supreme Gangsters.
Right.
We was black family disciples.
Black family, King David,
Yes.
of course, over
Right.
here with the disciples. And what role was Mr. Strong playing in that
He was the
organization?
chief of Cabrini Green. He started out with his own private disciple thing in Cabrini, but we merged with David. He was our chief. Billy Dyson was our prince. We had our own curriculum. We had our own chiefs on the north side,
Right.
separate from David and, but we were still disciples. Billy Dyson was our prince. He was under Richard Strong. We had our own establishment with our, leaders.
Give me some history on him.
Well, he used to work with Jesse White,
Okay.
Secretary of State.
Yes.
Yeah, Billy
Doing
Dyson.
what? What were they doing?
He was working with the community with different things, programs and all that. That was his makeup. He worked with Big Gus, Richard Strong, them as they promoted their programs.
You got Vice Lords doing community organization. You got Black Disciples doing community organization. You got the Cobra Stones doing community organization. You got Jeff Ford and his people doing community organization. And all of this stuff is happening at one time. Nobody's a renegade. And what role did Mayor Daley have playing in that?
He was giving funding to help David them start programs. He donated so much money to Jeff and David to start programs and things. He donated money for the community. He gave
Food
Jeff
programs.
money, and gave David money.
You got the Vice Lords running the same type of programs.
They had different programs. The Vice Lord, it was different from David's program. He was running the programs for the different communities. He was connecting with different people for jobs for the teenagers. He was soliciting, working with different politicians, trying to keep jobs for the teenagers, to keep them off the street.
What do you remember being the first incident that created confusion?
Well, they used to fight against each other, David and Larry.
David, Larry.
They used to war together until they merged and became as one. They used to go at each other. It was mainly concerning dealing with money. You making more money than me, and you making more money than him. So they came to agreement where they was gonna start working together, making money. That's how they kept the peace.
How were they making money?
It was mainly with drugs.
Oh,
Drugs. They had the programs out there using money from the mayor, but they also, as natural as the streets, it's drugs.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, they called friction. You get more, so we're gonna, they was knocking people off. You making more money than me, so they're gonna come up with a scheme where we're gonna get more money than this one. So we're gonna come up with a plan. They want to be able to get, if you got a bigger connect, I'm gonna get one bigger where I can bring in drugs and make more money or what have you.
And now there's a territorial fight.
Right.
I get it. Where were you at this time?
I was in Cabrini.
Well, I'm saying, how did you participate?
Well,
at
I
that
never
time?
sold drugs. I was just part of the organization as like an enforcer. You know, I always mingle and just roll with the group, but I never sold drugs myself personally.
So you weren't necessarily driven to that. You
No.
were still in the organizational part
Right,
of it.
organization part,
Okay.
not to sell drugs.
When do you have your first encounter with the law?
Well, I was in college. I went to the penitentiary from Champaign, Illinois when I was in college. I was framed for a burglary case. I did 2 years. Then they released me after they sent me to Stateville, and I ended up going back in 76 on a violation for my parole. My first case was 1-6, and I made parole in about 2 years. Then they sent me back with a 3-9, and I stayed about another year there.
So they put time on top of your time.
Right.
You called
I
another
went back a
case?
second time, yeah, with the violation, yeah.
Okay, what was the second violation? What was the
It was
violation
burglary.
for?
They gave me a burglary case.
Again,
Yeah, my second time,
right.
but
So
I'm still violated.
who were you there with in Stateville?
A lot of black family was there, but we was all merged as disciples. So I was there on the leadership. We had our own North Side chief, but David and Larry and them, they merged, so we was all as one.
None of them had come to prison yet.
You talking about Larry?
Larry and
Larry
David.
made it there in 73. Well, David died in 74.
Right.
Around September, I believe it was. He passed away from a old bullet wound from, you know, drinking and eating and doing this. And your doctor told you don't do this, you know. So he ended up passing away in 74.
Can you recall some of the guys that came out after David had transitioned and began to take those higher positions? Which one of those gentlemen were in Stateville with you?
Shorty Freeman been there. You have Killer Red, Sircon Don Swan. You have Junior Hope. You had Greg Knox, which was known as the Crusher. And you also have U.S. from 95th. There's so many of them. I can keep going.
All
There's a lot
these
of 'em.
guys in Stateville at one time.
Yeah, it's at the same time. We all was in the county jail in Dodge City on F3 and F4 also. The whole 95th Street, all of us, we was all packed in there.
So they had you guys in separate.
Right. The Long Street, a lot of them did time. Leonard Longstreet, them came back way back with David too.
Stateville is set up a certain way, and when you hit them tunnels, they start naming these tunnels as streets, as if they're on the streets.
State Street, that's the main
Yeah.
one.
I've been in Stateville, so
We should stand in the back of the joint on State Street.
right, and all of you all had these different locations where different organizations met.
Correct.
How did they start to organize this thing?
Each organization had their own leadership. They set up their laws, and we set up our laws. And everybody, the head people come to the table and say, this is what we ain't gonna do, and this is what we're gonna do. And to keep the peace, we're gonna do this. Because every time a war jump off, they locks the whole joint up.
Right.
Remember, they had a 6-month lockup in Stateville one time. So they make their laws, and they said, this is what we're gonna practice to keep the peace with these guys, and we're gonna do this over here. Vice lords had their own curriculum with what they did. They sold their little, whatever they did, but they still got along with all the leaders. We're gonna do our people this way, we work with them this way, and y'all work with y'all that way.
Who was in charge of the vice lords in Stateville at that time?
Monday, Black Drew. Yeah, Black Drew. The minister was there with him. Cause Monday, he was running everything for them for a while.
We're talking about Minister Rico.
Monday was there with him, though. Monday was a head man. Minister Rico came through the ranks behind him.
Who ran it for the black disciples?
Well, Lil Harlem DeSavio, they don't talk about him that much. He claimed that he ran all the joints. King David gave him that authority to run all the joints. He was running all the joints, and you had other disciples that was under him, but Harlem was calling shots of a lot of people. You had Swan had Juice, Killer Red. You had Satan. You had quite a few leaders down there that was with Harlem.
What role are you playing?
Well, I was a chief in the joint too, in the black family, part of the black family. But then I started doing security for Harlem. Then I started doing security for Hoover too. I was one chief for Larry Hoover. I was chief of security for the whole joint.
Larry comes in 74.
He was 73. That's my second time around when I went back. See, because in 73 is when Larry hit Stateville. He was on the run. I was there when Larry made it there.
You hadn't made it back out yet.
I was still there when Larry came.
You began to be the bodyguard for Larry.
Yeah, I was just part-time security. Me, Killer Ed, Smokey, Rick Magnum, Keith West. Then we had Big Rob. He had a lot of security, but I used to stay near him all the time. Me, Smokey, Killer Ed, 68th Street.
And you're a chief for the...
I was the original chief with the black family.
With the
but
yeah.
When we merged, I always had a position in the joint period.
You gravitated closer to Larry.
Right. That's when it split. That's what caused people to go this way and that way.
Explain that. The split.
Okay.
In detail.
The first split wasn't on the streets. The first split was in Stateville.
Okay, before the split, when Larry came down, Lil Durkee and all of them, they was like, y'all need to respect that man, that's the new king. And a lot of people didn't want to go along with it.
When Larry Hoover touched down to Stateville, he made statements that I ain't got nothing to do with none of this no more.
Right.
I was about selling my, narcotics. I ain't had nothing to do with this here.
So when the split came, when they went to the library, Killer Red, you had Swan, a lot of the leaders, they went with Killer Red for, the black disciple. They wanted peace, but when they met at the library, Harlem had people to come over there like they was finna talk peace, but Harlem came over there and caused the split. He got to saying, got in Larry's face, about you bitches this and you bitches that, this and that. And then the joint was finna go up. You had all the G's and the BD's finna go at each other. That's when the split really got heavy. Then Old Timer, he's down there. He kicked stuff off. He there telling people like, I be the new temporary king for the BD. But then Killer Red them didn't want to go along with that. They was like, no, we're gonna try to get along with everybody. Because Killer Red had a lot of power in the joint. He started the Falcons. Disciples, they black disciples. Back to black disciples. When they went to the yard, they was finna get into it. The GDs and BDs. They talked and tried to bring peace because they was finna go to war.
Right.
And the GDs outnumbered the BDs. Because if they would have went to war, the BDs was gonna lose. Because everybody was with Larry. Larry had the old joint hooked up.
And I can remember telling Larry, ain't no need of coming down here talking about me and about it.
Talking about what?
Talking about me and about it.
Okay.
You couldn't get past that, no way. All the man had to do is say the word, the joint getting tore up.
But Larry
he was a
doesn't
peaceful
wanna do
person.
this.
He don't like doing it. He ain't into that. He always tried to keep the peace. Even with Harlem, when he started that mess at the library and caused people to want to kill each other over at the library with the split. Harlem got to talking stupid. Oh, Larry, you ain't not our king. We BD, we ain't no GD. Harlem caused a lot of problems with that. That caused that split started right there. Because Larry wouldn't keep giving them money to do this and do that.
How does Dirk walk into that?
And Lil Durk, he campaigned for Larry. Say Dirk was going around telling people that David had made Larry king under him, and we should give him
You had two kings.
his props.
Right.
You know.
Dirk come down there blowing out smoke, saying, y'all need to honor Larry. He the new king. So when he didn't get what he wanted, he turned against Larry. Oh, he ain't our chief. We disciples. You know, he's changed it around. He would like to Larry, but he changed his ideology about Larry after that split. He went all the way in left field. He wanted to run the whole joint for all the disciples.
Dirk caused a situation whereas they recrowned Larry.
Right. Yeah, he pushed this. Yeah, y'all need to honor him. You know, the new king. Larry didn't want to really get involved. Larry was trying to lay back.
Right.
Lil Holland just dropped that in his lap. Oh, no, you the king. You go
Now
from
Lil
here.
Holland comes back and says, you're the king?
Yeah, he said, yeah, you the king, so and so. He was going back and forth.
Right.
And then Dirk, he pushed it out there, yeah, you the new king. But then when he couldn't get what he wanted from Larry, he started all that chaos in the joint. People going against each other, all the cheese. This
Now-
happened in Stateville. I was there.
This was after everyone agreed that Larry's going to be the king.
Right.
How does Larry deal with this situation with everybody branching into different?
He came straight out and said, if y'all want to honor the split, that's up to y'all. We going to still, respect them, us as all as one. But he wanted to keep the peace. But when they kept pushing the issue, Larry said, okay.
Larry took the reins again. We had a big meeting out on the yard when Larry took that position again.
Since you want to do it that way, I'm over the GD mob. If y'all BDs want to go that way, go y'all way, do y'all thing. Y'all see, but I'm running this here.
I don't want people to get the impression that Larry was being soft about this whole situation.
No, he didn't like. He tried to be peaceful, but he
Right.
denied. He said, "Look, y'all, if you want to do this, they try to make Old Town king down there. They said, no. He said, if y'all want to go y'all way, go y'all way. But I'm running this. Larry let him know, I'm running this. You don't like it? Do what you want to do."
In other
Like
words, if you're in disagreement with me and you want a problem,
He was going to war. You don't like it? Just too bad. 'Cause they was outnumbered anyway. They was outnumbered in all the joints.
Larry comes in and says, I don't want to do that. I don't be bothered with that.
Because Larry had made statements when he got to Stateville that he hadn't been about the gangster type of thing that was put together. He was about selling his drugs. And I can remember telling Larry, ain't no need of coming down here talking about me and about it.
Right. He
Then-
didn't really want to be bothered with it, period. But
Right.
he ended up stuck with it. Dirk, he pushed it, they dropped it in his lap.
And then he says, okay, if this is the game we gonna play, this how we gonna play it.
And he played it too.
So what happens on the yard, man, when Durkee and Killer Red and all of them go on the yard?
The first rumble was a C&D house, because I was in D house. We tore up the yard by B house. C&D house yard, we went to war with the stone. Then Dirk kicked some more stuff off, and they got ready to go at it, the GDs and BDs.
And they kick it off for what reason?
Some he did.
Something Dirk did?
He was trying to get this group to go against it, like, yeah, we be these, we ain't going on with all that old GDs, he's throwing his little slugs out there. Because every time you look around, he was in the middle of something.
The story is Dirk has the most responsibility for Larry accepting that position.
Yeah, because he was pushing the issue when Larry first come down there. Dirk told people he gonna be the new king, y'all need to honor him. But then he was out for power. Dirk always was enthused with power. So he said, look, Larry, we're gonna do this, do that. He was hanging under Larry, trying to for a position to be, well known. But then when things turn around, he behind Shorty, cause he said, Shorty, you can be the new king, and I can be under you. He wanted Shorty to be the new king, and he'd be under him. That's the way he was playing his strategy.
He's already helped Larry get into position, and now you're saying that he sees another space he might want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of all that said, Larry ends up being king of the mob or
Right.
of the organization.
Right, and what he did was, that's gonna be the new king. Let's honor him. But then, time went on. It's all about money.
All this time, you're standing next to Larry.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
What are some of the situations that you had to straighten out while you were in there and you're standing next to Larry?
When somebody come up to him, if it's in a violent way, I deal with them.
We got two situations here, two different situations. You got a C house and a D house situation,
Right.
and then you got a yard situation.
Right.
Now, what takes place on the yard? Because we got Killer Red, we got Dirk, and you say Holland on the yard with Larry, and what transpires? Are you there?
I was on the
Okay.
yard.
Okay.
They was finna go to war. I was C and D house yard. The other thing was when they was at the library finna go at each other.
Mm-hmm.
They was finna go to war, and Crusher had got the joint back, so Crusher was finna send people at Killer Red then on the yard, and they rolled out on him.
And that's how they trapped Killer Red in the tunnel.
No, that's a different situation.
Oh,
now.
okay.
No,
Now this
one
another
happened at
situation.
Statesville, yeah. Well, he got stabbed, maybe 15 to 25 down, and he still survived. It's two situations. They tried to get him before, and they missed. Now, the tunnel is when he made it up front to the hospital because they was trying to get him in the tunnel. You got about 20 people trying to get one person. Can 20 people get?
That's what he said. That is what he told me.
We talk about that to the day, right now, when I be at his house. They went in him, I don't exactly remember how many times they tried to get him on the yard, but I know about that tunnel.
They caught him in the tunnel, stabbed him up.
See, he had changed his life, and a lot of people didn't like that.
That's
He
what
picked
he
that
said.
Bible up. When he
That's
picked
what
that
he
Bible
said.
up,
Yes.
he didn't want no parts of that. He stayed away
Right.
because he had picked that Bible up.
Right.
And a lot of the guys didn't like that because they wanted him to stay radical where he can get out there and bang and fight and all that. But he picked that Bible up.
Now, after the incident transpires and they stab him up, does he come back in the organization?
No, he was still smooth with the organization. It's just that he had the Bible. He started living for God. He had the Bible.
Oh, and
he
they didn't
stayed
want
to
to hear
himself.
that.
He didn't want no parts. He didn't even want to be in the open with that. He'll speak to the brothers or whatever, but he was all about God business then.
Okay. And he did that until he walked out.
Right. When they Greg Knox them came at Killer Red, he had all the BDs behind him.
Who?
And he
Killer Red?
yeah, he told him, he said they was running toward him, and he said, Don't move. He said just stand still. And Greg Knox them came over there and bomb rushed them. Oh, they fought, but they lost, but
So we had a big meeting on the yard. Larry retook his position, and half of the joint walked off the yard with Larry, and half of the joint walked off the yard with me.
Okay. Now, when half walked with Larry and half walked with you,
That was the so-called first split.
Greg Knox had that position then. He swooped on him.
and they got to
'Cause
fight.
Greg was running the chief in the GDs then. And he's the original disciple. A lot of people don't know that.
Right.
He comes from 63rd, him, Burke, and all of them. Eyeball them. They was Murder Incorporated then. Greg Knox, Eyeball, Burke, Little Snooky, all of them. They was all called Murder Incorporated back then. David.
Little Snooky.
Yeah. Albert Reed.
Okay.
He was my son.
When do you leave the penitentiary?
The end of 77 around November, December, something like that. But see, I wasn't there when that hit was put on Larry. I was on the street then. Nissan them put a so-called mental sissy up to trying to kill Larry. That's when they skinned him. They tried to stab him.
When you mention Nissan, that's a different mob, ain't it?
Yeah, black gangster.
Okay, Nissan was a black gangster.
Yeah, they put him up to this guy. They hit Larry when he was coming in the cell house.
Larry's not walking with security at this time of the game?
No, it was people with him, about 8 of them surrounding him. When they coming in the cell house, it shocked people so quick. It was a spiritual moment thing where they jumped back and they didn't know it, and the dude ran. And then they went at him. They went to try to catch him. It's a spiritual moment thing. It happened so quick.
How does the homosexual even get that close to Larry?
They was coming in the cell house. He was hid under the steps.
Oh.
He was
okay.
hid under the steps, and he just jumped out from behind the guy that was behind him.
And he tries to stab Larry.
Yep. He skinned him,
And you come back to the streets, and what's going on now?
Well, when I hit the streets, I became one of the top dons. I was a don for the Genie Mob, for Larry.
The Dons for gangster disciples.
Right. Me, Killer Ed, you had Poncho, all of us. It's about 15 or something like that, or 20. There's some like board members. We had our own territory. I had the north area past Cabrini. I'm originally from Cabrini, but I had the north area. Smoking, Larry them gave me that north area up there. I had that north area from Fullerton all the way back to Everson and Skokie.
You come home, you got that area.
Yeah, I was gave that position as soon as I hit the street.
Right.
Smokey, he was the Don of Don, so Larry talked to him, and Smokey them put me in that position up north. Don, Blue Money. I just had from Fullerton all the way back to Everston. I had the whole north area going way back to Skokie, Everston. I had that whole area up there.
As you say what you're saying, it makes me think about when they tore down those buildings.
A lot of them they sent a lot of them to Algier Garden, south, and then the other half, they migrated north.
And partner, let me tell you something, man. A hell of a lot of them came west.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You stay in control of the far north.
I stayed about a couple of years because I had warrants I was on the run. It's around about 83 and 84, I had the north area, 83 and 84 around that time.
And in 83, 84, all that time from the end of the 70s up to mid 80s, you have control of that.
Right.
And you end up running from a case.
Right. I went out of town because I had warrants, and then the police was getting hot on me because they used to seeing me with a suit in town in a briefcase. So they started talking about who is me, because they never knew who I was.
Right.
They just heard of my name. So when they got to getting familiar with me, kept coming around looking for me, trying to put cases on me, so I migrated away for a while.
Okay, where do you go?
Me, I went out to California, I went to New York, I migrated away.
Okay.
Then I came back.
And you come back in what year?
About the end of the 80s, because back then, Junior Hope, Big Roddy, he got out and he took control of the city after Smokey went back in.
Okay.
So when he took control, he was misusing this whole system when he got out, Junior Hope. And he didn't like me because I was still the Don up there when he came. Larry sent him to see me because I was one of the political persons for the mob. I was doing a lot of political for the place. So he told him, when you get out, you get with Blue Monday and Poncho and talk to them. Because me and Poncho was working together. Poncho had the city. Because it was in and out, And Junior Hope, he was so arrogant. Matter of fact, he hooked up in the joint. Larry gave him a chance. He wasn't from the street. He hooked up in the joint. His profession was a car thief because he tried to put a hit on me. He tried to hit me, but he couldn't get near me.
Where's Cannon at this time?
Cannon was in Cabrini.
When you came back.
Right, because Cannon always was in touch with me. See, Cannon, he wasn't only working with community programs. Cannon had authority. He was over majority of Cabrini.
Okay.
Yeah, he was well respected with community organization, but he was low key, but he had authority. He was one of the dons.
How many buildings did y'all have?
We had all the whites,
Right.
and we had majority of the red, because 500 was vice lords, 365 was disciples. Johnny Ville building was 1160 Sedgwick. We had about 3/4 of the red. It was only maybe about 4 or 5 buildings we didn't have. Majority of them we had in the reds.
Now, all the way at the end, last building, maybe 2, I don't know, of the reds.
Cobblestone was 1160 Sedgwick, and 1119 was Satin Lovers, and 500 and 502 Oak was Vice Lords.
Mickey Cobras were in what building?
That was 1160 Sedgwick. That's the Cobblestone.
Right.
It's 2 sections of the building. Both sections was stone. That's Johnny Ville, them. The one that just got out of joint. Before they killed the 2 police. That was their building. I went to school with them. And 1119 was Satin Lovers. What was that? 1015, 1017 was Deuce's Wild. That was in front of the old Dale Farm. Well, them the ones that hooked up with us when we was black family. They was with us, but we used to fight each other. They hooked up with us in, around 70, somewhere in that area, up to 73. Deuces had been with us for a while.
You come back, and you and Cannon hook back up.
Right. We started staying in contact with each other because I always knew Cannon because he moved from 714 to 534 to where I was living. He moved in our building. Well, Cannon was mostly in the community organization, even with his mother. He always was into that. But what he did, he was still clicking with the guys. He had power.
I understand.
He came up behind me, after me.
Oh, okay. So you're a few years
Yeah, I was a
older
don
than him.
before he became one,
Okay.
Then they switched it over. He became a governor. When they switched it, grew up in development, he became a gov.
How does Cannon get his position?
He was well liked. He did different things for the community. He had been messing with Jesse White. He had programs for kids. He threw parties, and that what made the community like him. He was well loved behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the guys with Big Juice, they brought him on board. They said, yeah, he need his position.
How does Larry end up sanctioning that?
He went down there to see Larry. Larry loved the Cannon. Yeah, he works for the Secretary of State.
Okay.
He's very influenced when it comes to communities everywhere he go.
Right.
He's in the church. He's a good mentor for the teenagers. He always was. He always come up with some kind of program. He'll get the kids together. Y'all, let's go. We're going to go skating. Let's do this. He had a lot of events. He always did different events.
Mm-hmm.
He was well liked by the community.
What year do you consider when the situation gets to the point that the city starts to say, these are gangs?
That's after the drugs hit the community. They start pinpoint each gang. Yeah, they said they only selling drugs. We're gonna lock them up. Mayor Daley was on that.
About what year was that?
In 69, 70.
Oh, they're selling drugs way back then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 69, 68, 70, 71, 70, 72. They threw them drugs out there, and the mayor was on us. Started with reef and all of that. Then it was.
And now everybody's really fighting for territory and bread.
Because drugs was destroying people, even with some of the leaders. They was getting high. And you ain't able to control when you selling and you using drugs.
Right.
It destroyed a lot of our leadership in our community. It made it where a lot of men was giving up on life and all of that.
Who's bringing the drugs in the community?
You got a lot of outside sources that was doing it. You got these different powerful people. Hey, we got this, and we going back from them. You had Italians and you had blacks that had big money that was buying quantities, and then they sell it to people in the community.
We're talking an era where Fluky Stokes and all these
and with
guys
Highsmith them, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Highsmith and all them, they had all that quality.
I mean, you don't get involved in drugs.
No. All right, guys, it was under me and all that did that, but I didn't. I just,
Right. Okay, that wasn't your thing. How do you remember it when Larry and King David, how do you see that first merge happening?
I believe that if David would have lived, him and Hoover would have really got along real great. If David would have lived, because David seen potentials in Larry, so if he would have lived, it would have been really nice. He seen that when Larry, Jeff tried to get Larry to connect with them, but Larry took another route. Instead, he hooked up with David because he figured he had a better insight on life dealing with David because he still had power. You got King Larry and King David. If he'd have been with Jeff, he would have been considered an ambassador.
Okay, and he wasn't going.
He wasn't going.
The Supreme Gangsters.
When they started out south, they was like baseball group, and then they all happened and went to school together. Mm-hmm. They just came up with a solution. We're gonna be gangsters. Then I forgot his name. They came up with Longstreet. They merged and just said, yeah, we're gonna be Supreme Gangsters.
Oh, okay.
So as time went on, Longstreet, Larry, Tennessee, what was it? It was Old Timer in Tennessee. One of us was in jail, and they told him, we want you to come meet this young brother named Larry. And
told who that?
Evidently they went through Old Timer for David to meet Larry. That's how they start merging together. And Shorty was out there, but a lot of people wanted Shorty to take that spot. But there was
Which
a lot
spot?
of Shorty Freeman. There was a lot of confusion.
To take David's spot?
Right. But some people said that Shorty didn't get along with Larry, then some say he did. So that was a long story.
What did you think?
I think it could have worked out if Shorty and Larry would have worked together, but people say that Shorty was a little old-fashioned, that he didn't want to change. And Larry thing was he wanted to migrate and grow, and Shorty wanted to stay in the same circle he was in. He didn't want to migrate to better things in life. He was old-fashioned.
Okay.
He didn't want to change.
When you say he didn't want to change,
for us trying to go in the business world. Yeah.
So Larry wanted to do bigger and greater things like growth
yeah.
and development.
Real estate and business. He was always about growing.
King David, in your experience, what type of guy was he?
Well, I didn't know him that long. It's just that he's a very powerful man for us doing what he did. He had the type of atmosphere that he wasn't scared of nothing. Police or nothing. You pull a pistol out on him or anything, it didn't scare him. He acted like he didn't feel nothing, not even death.
When he began to organize the brothers, were you there in that experience, or you come a little bit later?
I came a little bit later. In the year 68, 69, in them years 67, yeah.
At this time, you're just a member.
Right.
So when you meet him, what are the circumstances you meet him under?
I went to a couple of meetings in the basement with him. I'd been to his office in the center, but I didn't hang around him every day.
Right.
I mostly was in other places. I was hanging over there. I lived over on 63rd for a while. Right. I hung out with Shorty, a lot of his soldiers. I hung out with Blackjack from 79th, all his original chiefs, Greg, Knox, all of them. He was always a fair man. He'll do things, get your shirt off his back. He just was a real fair man. He'd walk around with his jeans, a hammer in it sometimes, because when he want to violate you, he'll pick up anything and hit you with it. But it's the way he carried himself. The average person, when they walk up on him, he speak and everything. He's a real gentleman too, but he could be a beast.
When do you become a Don?
After I came out to joint in 77.
In 77, and who says you should be a Don?
Don of Don Smokey.
Don of Don Smokey.
Right. He was running everything. Larry gave him that position. Smokey, even in the penitentiary, Larry put him over everybody. He was a Don of Don. And when he hit the street, he kept that same title. He never used the title board member. He always wanted you to call him the Don of Don.
How do you meet Smokey?
Well, I grew up with him. My
On
father,
63rd?
no, Cabrini Green, 660 Division.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see what it is. Smokey and all his family, they've been living in 660 for years. We was in 534, they was in 660. My father was a janitor for their building. He was a maintenance man for that building. Yep. And his stepfather used to work in the liquor store on the corner of Division and Larrabee. Now, when we transitioned over to Black Family Disciples, the GD come in later on after we merged together because Larry's strongest force was Cabrini and the low end. When they was challenging him with all that mess in the joint, the North Side told everybody, we said, anybody you want us to deal with, just let us know. Because the low end and Cabrini, we was his strength.
Right.
You had part of the South Side, like in the 60s, that come up with him, was powerful with him, but when it comes to the low end and Cabrini, we was just heavy force. That's why most of all the ones he made cheese, a lot of them came from his area, and Cabrini.
And Cabrini Green.
Yep. Yeah, we was his force. We was his force. In the joint, whenever something went down, Cabrini and the low end, we had it taken care of.
And Don Smokey came out of Cabrini.
Yep.
I didn't know
Cabrini
that.
Green, yep.
I didn't know that. You know, he was so strong out south that I never knew he came from Cabrini Green.
Well, he lived out south, and his wife from the South Side, and he lived in Cabrini.
Okay.
He from both places, but he mainly is from Cabrini Green.
What kind of guy was Smokey, man? His reputation precedes him as a straight gangster.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Anytime something got to be did, he'll volunteer to do it. He like a part-time radical, but he was a torpedo. He coming at you. He got that from being around Bojan. Bojan was the first young Don in Cabrini. Bojan. They don't speak of him a lot. Smoke and him, they lived in the same building. They grew up together.
Okay.
His two brothers ran with Bojan. Smokey wasn't that nice.
What happened to Bojan?
He got killed.
Oh.
Some dealing with some jury or something with him and Speedy. He's something like a Spanish-looking guy. But he ran with Bojan and Smoke and all them. But they eliminated him. It's something he did. All of them was a clique. Smokey, Bojan, all of them, they had a little clique. And Smokey got two other brothers that's dead. That was Fat Dad and Nardo. All of them lived in 660.
Cabrini Green wasn't nothing to play with.
President of the United States, I forgot which president it was, he said Cabrini Green is the most treacherous complex in the United States.
In and out of the penitentiary, however that went, Don Smokey wasn't no joke, man.
Yeah, because he was a dedicated person to what he did. Like even when they had his funeral, you know, they got a picture of him on top of Chicago. Cause I'm telling you, the police is in Cabrini, they didn't even like to stop Smokey.
No, I get
Smokey
it.
used to ride around with all man,
From what I know, and I don't know much about him, I'm not going to sit here like I knew. I did not know the brother at all. But his reputation said that he began to want change in the community.
Yeah, he did. Because he was buck wild when he got older. He still liked a lot of that gang banging, but as time went on, he was changing. And he just started going down, you know. And he used to come get me. He said, you know, what should I do? I said, man, you need to lay back. People bringing you money every week. You don't have to go out there and do nothing bogus to get no money. People bring you money every week. Him and his wife, Pretty, I was telling Pretty, I say, I hated to see him go because it tore me up when I seen that. I was with him about a week before he got killed. He's a good brother though. He come a long ways. And when he changed, he used to go out and talk to people in the community, say, this is what we trying to do. He changed so much it'll shock you from the way he used to be. He was a good brother and he did a lot of great things before he passed away. When he changed over, he told his sister, the one that lived in my building, he said, you need to change your life like I'm doing. Then he started going to church too. And he was an intelligent brother. He started using it later on as time went on. Yeah, 'cause him and Killer Ed was running buddies. The one on our south, Killer Ed, they were running buddies. All them sellers in the joint, they go way back.
All of these guys that you're mentioning, you're still here.
Killer Ed was a Don too. He's still living. He got a job and everything. All right, that's what I liked about U.S. He got a program for teenagers. He moved his office on Michigan down from Godfather and them. U.S. from 95th. He doing a lot of wonderful things for the community. He got these kids. He be teaching them how to do computers and all of this.
I want to give a shout out to U.S., to him and my man Godfather, his guy Godfather. You know, we Coleon Godfather, that's my man, ride or die every day. You know, you're on one end of the Cabrini Greens, and Cobra Stones are on another end.
Within 2 blocks.
Did you have an experience with Mickey?
I only met Mickey about a good 7 or 8 times, but I was mainly in Cabrini with Johnny Beard, the chief of the Cobra Stone, him and George Knight.
Right.
And they was 2 blocks from my building, right by Cooley. We had to go past that building going to school. See, Mickey, what's strange is when they had this president ball, they invited Mickey, but they didn't invite Jeff. And there was a lot of behind that, because what he chief of the Cobra Stone, what he doing a presidential thing, and then they didn't even invite Jeff. You know, there was a lot of friction behind that. And he was a business type person too. Well, see, Jeff was the type of person, he was a good leader. He didn't have that much education, but it's the way he talked to people. When he get in front of anybody that's white or in a courtroom, he'll say, I don't like that. I'm Jeff Ford. And he'll turn his back and walk away like, you don't mean nothing to me. I'm the boss here. That's the type of person he was. He's not the original leader of the Stones. Eugene Harrison is Bull. We call him Bull, Abraham.
Bull used to come to the Henry Horners when I lived there, and we would be in the playground, and he would always come to and talk to the young guys. We would sit on the merry-go-round, and Bull would come. There was a brother named Horsehead. They would come, and they would, hey, look, man, you know, here's what I need you young guys to do. I need you to get your education. I need you to aspire and think about being something in the community. This was their conversations to us. So I had that experience with him.
Well, he started the Blackstone Rangers, Bull. Why they separated was Bull started messing with, you know, and then that's when Jeff moved and took over, because Jeff was like the prince. He was under Bull. And Jeff, he strived for power. So that was the excuse for him to push Bull out the way and take over.
What year was that?
The 80s. That was in the 80s when early 80s when Jeff took over, because Bull was still the man. Even like on the west side now, all the Stones out west, they respect Bull. But majority of the south side, they like Jeff. Early 80s, at that time, Bull was up north. He was staying in the Bryn Mawr Hotel. He the one that was running the Bryn Mawr Hotel off Bryn Mawr.
Okay.
And then every time he go to South Side, he have to take his security because Jeff was like on him.
I thought at that time, I thought Jeff was in charge.
Bull started the Blackstone Rangers. Jeff changed it over to Almighty Peace Stone, and then they went into the Moorish American situation.
Right.
Bull was still considered as a Blackstone Ranger chief because he started the Blackstone.
Because he always spoke to us about Blackstone Rangers.
Yeah, he once started it. Jeff feared Bull. Bull was a strong leader like David. The Bull was rough. Bull was a great leader because he didn't have to recruit you. People seen what he was doing and they came to Bull. See, Jeff was a recruiter. Bull wasn't. That's the difference with them. And Jeff kind of feared Bull to a certain degree. That is why he was trying to get rid of him when he got out of the joint, because he wanted to be the #1 man. See, I know both of them personally.
There was another guy that I think you had a close relationship with that I'd like to put some light on, and that was Crusher. What was your relationship like with Crusher?
We were smooth. When he had Murder Incorporated, when he had David gave Crusher 63rd Street years back. He always had it. He was known for 63rd Street. Crusher was the type of person, he didn't feel nobody asked him a David Wade. And he was the only one ever known to talk back to David Wade. He was at a big meeting out in the park, a whole lot of us out there, and he said something smart, and some of the fellas was finna get it. And David said, leave him alone. Because Crusher, that's a real gangster. He in that gangster world. Crusher ain't nothing nice.
You and Crusher were in prison together.
In the early 70s, right?
In the early 70s, okay. Were you there first, or was he there first? You were there first, then Crusher came in. How did he change that atmosphere?
Well, it's going back to that little short guy, little Harlem, said he had all the joints. Him and Crusher was at it. He told Harlem, David ain't gave you no joints, you need to sit down somewhere. So Crusher ended up running, every joint he go to, he ended up taking it over. He ended up running Stateville. He was in the Sea House, and that's when that first war jumped off with the Stones and the Disciples. Crusher said, tear the joint up. They don't want to listen, tear it up.
And what was that about?
Somebody disrespected this person. It was something minor though, but the Stones pushed the issue. And Crusher said, we ain't try to hit that, tear it up. We was all on the yard.
Okay, so
C&D house yard.
What made you want to do something different when you got out the joint?
I wanted something better to do in life for myself, and also I wanted to, always been the type of person who wanted to work with the community. I done work with the pastors, some of everybody. Me, Fred Hampton Jr., we like this. I just like to work with the community because I like helping people, period.
Ike Taylor. What was your relationship like with Ike?
We like this. I mean, wherever you go, I'm his cheapest security when I'm around him.
You've always been like that with him?
Yes.
I get it, because you were like that with Larry.
Yep.
And Ike was right there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see these people begin to become concerned with what had affected the community?
Yes, I did. Same way with Ike. He got programs set up. They'll be happy to just be here, just to live to be a certain age, just to see a change. Even if they don't make the change, they would just be glad that they're still around. That takes me back to what Benny Lee's sons, I helped raise them. See, Benny Lee, we go way back too.
Right.
And most of them brothers, they was a good inspiration to me too. Just to hear them speak and talk about bettering the community. It's an inspiration to me too. It makes me feel good. I would like to see the young generation grow. That's why I speak. I do a lot of speaking at different churches. With my pastor's young, he's 40. We go to different churches, and we speak to young groups. We got a kids speaking program, girls and boys. We go to different churches and organizations, and we speak, about them growing, coming up in a decent neighborhood. Because you got a lot of blacks now, they don't want to live in no black neighborhood. They want to go and live somewhere else. But you're going to always be something wherever you go.
Right.
Everything ain't peaches and cream. See, I want to see the young generation do something, come up, go to college, do something prospective like being a doctor, or you do something constructive, so you ain't got to be out there on the streets out there trying to gangbang or doing something what we done did. I tell them, what I done did, I don't want you to go through. That's what I tell them, and I say, I done did this, I done been here, I done did this, I done been in the military, and I would not like you to go out there and do something and get your life taken for something stupid. You don't need no pistol. Trust an old man upstairs.
What advice would you give them to avoid prison life?
To find something constructive to do for us, having a job, going to school, or either do something to motivate other young people. Go speak here about them, about what you want to do, and stay positive, and then tell them that's something they should do.
The way you're going to feel when you're in prison, it sounds glorious when we're telling you the past and how that went and how this went and that. As an individual, that shit ain't glorious at all.
Sure not.
Believe what I'm telling you. At all costs, avoid that. That is a waste of your life.
And some of them don't make it out of there.
Narvell
O'Neal,
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was my ride buddy there. Yeah, me and Narvell, we used to get together every time they had our picnics on the low end.
When we speak about Narvell and we think about Mr. Hoover and King David, what picture do you paint with those different relationships? How would you say Narvell fitted in all of that?
Well, I used to hang with Narvell and them down on 35th Street. They was called the Dale Vikings. And we always had fun. I go hang out with them. You know, they had an old saying that the Dale Vikings, they put one comeback boot on and stomp you in the ground. It was an old saying about the Dale Vikings,
right.
You know. And Narvell used to run with David a lot, too.
Okay.
And he got along with Hoover good, too. Narvell got along with Larry. He hung with David. Narvell that was my hangout on 35th when they was original Dale Vikings. He used to go over Killer Red house and hang out with him. You know, me and Killer Red, we like this.
Hey, shout out to Killer Red. You know, a lot of respect for that brother. He came to this show and he told his story.
Killer Red was like a angel to a lot of the BD, because the BD, they honored him like a god, though.
I get it.
And Swan was, too.
I get it.
The star of the Circon.
Yes, sir.
All of us, we all just mingle together.
We always, at the end of every show, ask the guest of what they consider an OG to mean.
A person that strive for perfection, even though he going through hard times, and you can get an older person like a grandmother or grandfather, you know, and learn from them as well as you can learn from another person.
What I've learned today, we have enough history that we don't have to repeat the hardship that it took to get here on this seat.
You know, and when it comes to Mr. Hoover, I done lived with his mother. I know his brothers, we used to run together when she was out on 103rd out there. And Ms. Hoover used to work with me when we was in the medical field, when she was working up north.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have been around her so long. Her, Mama Lacey, Killer Ed, Eddie Burks, Mama, all them was three buddies. They ran together over there on 68. They stayed across the street from each other. You had Killer Ed, Mama Lacey, because Mama Lacey was running all the women's in the city at one time when she was younger. Then you have Mama Lacey, Miss Burke, and Miss Hoover. They was running buddy, all three of them.
I am at this moment Governor Pritzker. You would say what to me?
Governor Pritzker, it would be a very good honor to service the community of Illinois, not only with your election, but to get a person that can come out and speak about their life and what they've been through that's been locked up that long, and it would be a good thing for you to show the world that this man can be changed. He's been locked up that long, I need to give him a chance.
You know, we send out much love to you, sir. We say to Governor Pritzker, you know, he's one of our brothers. He's one of our elders. Give brother a chance. He is no harm to you or the state of Illinois. That's it. That's all. If you live in a city, any city, big or small, and you would like for Mr. Rick to come to your town, get as many subscribers as you can in your town, go in the comments. Let me know who your OGs are. They could be men or ladies. Doesn't matter. As long as they have a great history, whoever has the most subscribers, I will interview them. We won't pick them. You will pick them. So we'd like to tell those stories. Let me know why Mr. Rick should come to your city and interview the OG ladies and the OG gentlemen. That's it. That's all.